Hello Chipsters, it's me Gav. Welcome to another one of my videos. Today we are looking at some 28mm Artisan designs, I believe, because I've thrown the packets away. Old West, stroke Wild West, well, you know, whichever way you want to look at it. I think there's a three figure pack of hired guns and a 3-figure pack of, well, two are named personalities. So you've got Wild Bill Hickok, and you've got Doc Holliday, and the third guy in the pack it's got no name for. So yeah, I've always said to you guys, you know, outside military stuff, and you know, I like my trains occasionally. My other thing is the Old West, you know, from literally the fur trapping days, you know, to the really the, you know, early 1900s, I suppose. I've always liked the Old West. I used to like all the old, you know, usual John Wayne type of films, you know, back in that was set in the, made in the 1960s and that we saw as kids in the, I don't know, late 70s, early 80s type of thing. And yeah, I've just always been fascinated with the Old West. You know, I'm often read up stuff, and as I said to you guys, I'm a huge fan. The one bit that I like the most is the Lincoln County War in New Mexico. Obviously everyone goes on about Billy the Kid, and obviously he was obviously an integral part of all that, and but I just love all the cast of, I wouldn't call them characters, because the two Young Guns films were good films, but they were classic Hollywood. You know, there's a huge chunks that weren't particularly right with them. But yeah, I love all the characters. You know, John Kinney and his is it Cochise County Gang, and Jesse Evans, the Cowboys gang. You know, you name it, and it's not all the bad guys. It's just all the law enforcement, as in you could claim that most of the law enforcement in Lincoln was bad guys, but you know, for all the decent law guys out there, you know, I love all the Texas Rangers, you know, all that type of stuff. I just love that. So yeah, join me at the bench, and we're going to take a quick look at only 6 figures. Right guys, thanks for joining me at the bench just as the fireworks start off outside. You can't believe it, the bonfire night was a few nights ago and they're still going on. It's like Beirut, as they used to say. Right, let's have a look. 6 figures. I've given them bases of you know, arid type conditions. I don't know if it goes as far as desert, but that type of thing. They're metal figures. No particular order. This is the one that was in the character pack that didn't have a name. I just thought I didn't want them all to be browns and tans and khakis and all that type of stuff, because cowboys were actually quite well, not so much cowboys, but you know, the Old West did have a fair bit of colour in it. It was covered in dust probably, but you know, they when they could, those that could afford it liked themselves to be a bit more, you know, a bit more colourful with waistcoats and things like that. So this is about as good as I'm going to get, I think, with this guy here. There are some slight colours on the 3 bases that are a bit different, just because I was trying out different things. These bases have had a layer of milli put over them first, and just to bring the bases in. I don't like these big hump bases, which, especially when you're new to doing this type of thing, you tend to pile it up, and it tends to look like they're sitting on little hillocks all the time, or standing on little hillocks. So I put some putty around them, and then later on I actually put some PVA glue down, put the silver sand down. And as you can see, these larger bits, they're like a parrot or budgie type, I don't know, bird type, you know, the cages and aviaries and stuff. Cuttlefish, I think it is all busted up cuttlefish. And I put that in there. And then, of course, my usual, I've always got some type of cork rock that's in there as well. Oops, as I nearly drop him. Yeah, really nice. You know, there's not a lot to him, but he's a really nice figure. I like doing him. Now this is Wild Bill Hickok. I just didn't like this guy. Wild Bill was a tall bloke, and when he was ill from time to time, he does look skinnier. But I know obviously the sculptors wanted to obviously show him off as Wild Bill. But I don't know, he's just a bit too skinny for me. Probably hasn't helped that I've given him stripes. And Wild Bill actually did have like a dark auburn hair. It's probably still not dark enough really, but he's a 28mm figure, so although it looks on photographs that he's dark haired, he's actually got an auburn look to him. Gave him a brown hat. I've seen him he liked to dress quite fashionable as well, so I've given him a nice blue waistcoat, a bit of yellowy gold in there, and yeah, just went with what I think really. As again, nobody can nail you down to oh, I've not seen photos of Wild Bill looking like that. Well, you probably haven't, but did you see how he dressed all the rest of the year round? So go with what you like. Yeah, as I say, it's just he's a bit too skinny for me really. I just he's probably the one that I didn't like painting the most. It's a shame because obviously he's a well-known Western character. This guy's described as a hired gun. There's a couple of packs of hired guns. They do different, Pinkerton, a couple of packs of Pinkertons and cowboys and posses and Apache renegades, you name it, Comanches I think they've got as well. Gave this guy, I don't know how good the lights are because obviously I'm doing a nighttime shoot, but yeah, I wanted to give him this like wine coloured darkish whatever you call it, jacket. Bit of red there. Not a lot to this figure in the sense of, he's got his hat pulled down, so he couldn't do a great deal. It was just the look of his moustache that gave me the idea of I wanting to put him more of a bit of a dandy type of stuff, rather than somebody that was dressed a bit more workman-like. And again, I tried different. Oh, I should have said I put different inks over the top of this, or washes. So there's a Vallejo sepia, I believe it's sepia that I've put over the top in places, and their skin tone, which is it comes up like an orangey colour, and it does make I went a bit too heavy on this one, but on some of the others I put it in amongst the rocks, and on the rocks it just gives you that more, just a bit tonal variation. And this is Doc Holliday. Again, his face a bit covered there, but he's got his shotgun. I didn't want to put him all in black because I'd originally done these as I normally do to probably try and sell on, but I had a little, when I was a really little kid, I had my own Wild West town and a ranch, and I'd always like to do another Wild West town, so I might well hold on to these. I gave these like just put some, you can't see them with the lights I don't think, put some squares in amongst them, just to show some patterning in the coat itself, but just vaguely. I haven't got the town on it. I didn't want to make it overly complex. I wanted to do the front mainly, that to do all this, to do the talking, and the jacket really is just to frame it all. Yeah, it sounds very arty, doesn't it? But that was the idea. It's one of my favourites. I like this guy. In fact, I think this was a guy I'd painted as the demo, and it just went all, the film, it just went all pear-shaped. But I like this guy. He's got a lot of character. I think with Western characters, I know it's probably goes against type, but they're quite clean in the sense of there's not a lot to them as such, in the jackets and the trousers and things. I was going to paint him with some, quite often the cowboys, just like the cavalry, would have the leather reinforcing at the bottom, but then they'd have the inside thigh with leather or canvas.
and then obviously having it on your seat of your trousers as well. But because this has already been pre-sculpted on, I just left it like that. But yeah, really nice fella to do. I liked him a lot. So and then the last one, I like this one as well. You can actually paint the face on this guy. I've gone for a glowing facial tones on these, skin tones I should say. I've tried to put a bit of staining under the arms and on the front there just to show, because he is a bit more ragtag, and put a patch on his knee. Obviously they'd sculpted a hole in the other one. And then put again the seat of his trousers, I've put a canvas reinforcer on those as well. Gave it the pink. Now I'm not sure if these are supposed to be, you know, long johns or whatever coming down, or if they were just supposed to be leather wrist straps, you know. And you could paint it either way, and I went for painting it like that. Just gives him a bit of colour to him. So that's our six guys. As I say, some have got, just like say, a tuft. I just wanted to make it fairly arid, and I've the last couple that I've shown, I've gone for this type of colour. The stain in there, that's actually that skin tone from Vallejo, but you've got to water it down a bit because it is very strong, and it will come out like that other one, quite rusty looking. So I've got some gunfighters and some gamblers there by the look of it, and all that for when I finally do ever get a Wild West town. I will get some buildings. I'll price some up. I know that war bases do a very inexpensive range, and a couple of other places. I mean, some of them you get them big saloons and they're like 50 and 60 quid a piece. Whoa, way out of my territory. But yeah, I won't mind one. I've got nowhere to keep them, but I could see me going down that road, because it's something I've always wanted, and I really do love the period. So guys, thanks for looking at my, as I say, I think they are artisan, these ones. I mean, you can get stuff like from Foundry and that, but we know how expensive Foundry is, and they do some really nice figures. I don't know how they'd be scaled against these guys, because they tend to be sometimes a bit smaller, but they've got some really, I mean, they've got a whole massive Wild West range. But to be fair to Artisan, their range is quite big as well. You know, and you can get them as foot figures, or you can get rather than have the 3 or 4 whatever they put in a blister, you get one mounted and 1 foot guy of the same, which is what Foundry did. You know, you could get the same figure but mounted. I'm just going to find myself a stagecoach now. So guys, again, thank you. Sorry, I'm rambling. I'm looking at my own figures through the camera here. But yeah, they really are nice figures to do. There wasn't a huge amount of cleanup. Doc Holliday, which you can't see at the moment, can we? Doc Holliday had a bit of cleanup around his legs and that, and I didn't do a massive great job. And I think one of the others as well might needed a bit, but not anything to whinge about. But yeah, really nice figures. They're only still unmounted on the bottle tops. One for it's too easy to show, and they haven't been varnished yet. They're waiting for the commission figures to be, when they're ready for varnish. I'll stick these in and put my airbrush over them at the same time. But yeah, if you're not into, or not thought of the Old West or the Wild West, depending how you want to call it, you might want to have a look, because there are some brilliant characterful painting options out there for you. They don't have to paint them all. Yeah, you know, a lot of the towns, you know, when you could do the Wyatt Earps and all this, they're all a bit like Doc Holliday there. You know, the only bit of colour you can normally do is a waistcoat type of thing. But yeah, they do some cracking figures. You know, you might want to take a look. Look after yourselves, guys. Coming up, we've got the Sherman tank is progressing well. It's been had some paint on over the weekend. I'm just doing a couple of bits and bobs to her, and she'll get a video probably Wednesday. And then Thursday or Friday, I want to just do a pre-Telford the clock's ticking, and you're thinking, please get me to the. I'm scared to jinx it, but I'll do a pre Telford shout before I go there on Saturday. So guys, look after yourselves. Thanks for stopping by and taking a look, and we'll catch each other very soon on another video.